hello. We've got here to the end of week 8, can you believe? With episode 7. Hope you're all well, hope you've had a good week. We haven't had much in, to be honest. It's probably the least amount we've ever had. I don't know, has all the homeschooling stopped, or we just forgot to send it in this week anyway? We'll look at what we've got, because what we have received has been brilliant. And of course there's been the big news this week, hasn't there? That hopefully after half term a few of us might be able to go back into school. Now this is an ever-changing picture, changing every day, and there are so many conditions that have got to be met before we can even think about going back to school. But there is an ambitious plan that some of us in year 6, year 1 and foundation, we might be able to go back to school after the half-term holidays. Now, Mrs. Wassell will be writing out today on Parent Mail, either today or you'll receive it by Monday, with a little bit more information and the early stages of the plan. But it's changing all the time, and we will have to be guided by what the unions and the health and safety people say. But as it stands, you never know. We might all be back in school after half term, certainly those in those year groups that we've mentioned. Now Mrs. Wassell has asked me to stress that just because we say that we're open and you can come back, it doesn't mean to say that you want to come back. Maybe you don't feel it's entirely safe for you to do so, and you are driven by health and safety concerns, and that is fine. It's an individual decision for your family, and you'll have to talk that through and decide. Some of you, I guess, are desperate to come back. Some of you might not feel confident. Well, there'll be no forcing you to come into school. Mrs. Wassell won't be doing any of that. It's very much a voluntary thing. So let's take it day by day. Let's see how things go. It is an ambitious plan. Lots of things have got to happen before then, before we can even think about opening up after half term. But fingers crossed, some of us might be able to get back into school pretty soon, and that I think will be a really good thing, and we're really ready for that. Anyway, we'll keep you posted on all the information. Let's have a look at some of your great pictures from this week. Now these two have been very, very active. Lots going on in this household. It's Cole and Jordana, and you can see that the homeschooling just hasn't stopped. Whether they've been learning about the skeleton, doing some wonderful artwork, recreating a little garden from the book, and even making time to enjoy the paddling pool, getting your swimming lessons in as well. Really good, great to see you all. Almost too many photos to fit on here. Another fine selection from Thomas, who's been keeping very, very busy, showing his support for the NHS. Looks like he's been mayor for the day. A very stern look on his mayoral face there. Babysitting, creating and baking. I am expecting to see some of these buns in school soon, Thomas. Mrs. McDowell, she had a VE Day street party at a safe distance, I'm sure. And she sent me the idea for a bird feeder. Now, when I first looked at this, covering a toilet roll with peanut butter, I mean, surely she's having a joke with me there. But no, here it is. You can see it in action. You'd be able to see it even better if it were filmed in landscape. But you can see clearly birds do like to chew on toilet roll that's been caked in peanut butter and rolled in seeds. That's one of those things that you've got to see to believe. But now we all do. Thank you for that, Mrs. McDowell. Inspirational. We'll put that idea on the webpage for others to copy. Here's Poppy and Daisy. They've been busy. It looks like maths has been the main theme in their household, and Scarlett and Leela have been doing their maths work also. But the main theme in their house this week has been reading and recreating some of the characters from the books that they've been reading. They've been having great fun doing that. And then these two are back, Agnes and Paola. They always look to make learning fun. Some beautiful work that have been created there all around the VE Day theme. Really special, and great to see you too. You're looking really happy. Now the Woolley family made a real effort for VE Day. They took part in our wonderful song, which proved very popular online. They also had a party last Friday, did lots of special baking for it. And then I think Mr. Freeman's inspired the fitness side of the photos here, because Archie has been doing his bit for 10k, trying to raise funds. It took him 3 days to do the whole 10k. but he managed it, and that has subsequently inspired his little sister Verity to do the same, and she's made a good start on her 10k. Again, non-stop for Anya. She's been building huge maps, washing the car, did a bit of dressing up. Matilda's been celebrating, also doing the 10k, and planting lots of seeds, which is good to see. Got to now's the time to be getting those seeds in, Matilda. Very well done. And then thank you to Mrs. Kane, who sent us these pictures from Key Stage 2. Some beautiful baking from Jerusalem, as well as learning how to hovercraft works. And then that looks like Betty and Mac, as well as the K family, all actively getting involved in the V-Day celebrations. I think that's been a real theme of the week, as you can see from Sebastian, who looks to have spent hours making that bunting, but really effective when it's finished. And then Mr. Athy has been, again, doing his VE Day 75th anniversary work. Looks like really studious game of chess going on. And then they've been decorating shirts. It looks like a last day of term, that. And then Harriet's been on with her homemade bunting, looking very smart. And then is that Alex? Looks like Alex in his bedroom, still doing his bunting. And Ruby looks to have been decorating the house, as well as doing a bit of maths by the looks of things. And then, most unlike Mrs. Hart, ever so slightly past the deadline, only just in time, I might add, before the camera started rolling, we got this wonderful picture, just summing up some of the activities taking place in Key Stage 1. Ola with poppies, and Mac illustrating his V-Day work, and then it looks like all the science experiments, the seed planting has come from Philip. So like I said, not very much this week. I don't know, maybe we're getting a little bit tired of submitting your work, but we do love to see it, and we don't really have a programme without your contribution. So please keep sending your work to your Key Stage web pages via those addresses, or fresh content for the show directly to me at the G-sharp at stbedescatholicprimary.co.uk. And it really helps, rather than like an hourly update like some people like to give us, maybe just one hit with everything on once a week, with a good summary of photos on. That would be really good. And maybe if you've not seen your pal, someone in your class, give them a nudge, talk to them online, give them a call, ring them up the old-fashioned way. Let's see as many new faces as we can next week. That could be the ambition. Prompt someone in your class who's not been on yet, send a picture, and let's see that they're all right and that what they're up to, and let's just try and share the word a little bit more. I never want to waste time. Lily Hopper she's already very skilled, as we know, in so many ways, but one of the things she couldn't do was ride a bike, and so she's used the time during lockdown to master that skill, and here we can see it. Well done, Lily. It's a big thing, that. It takes a lot of courage, a lot of perseverance. But now you've got that freedom. If your nan starts doing this, you can get on the bike and off you go. Now, I'm sure you've seen this online, but Mr. Freeman has had a very, very busy week. He's challenging himself to run the equivalent of, say, from school to Manchester city centre and back. He's running 100k in 10 days. That's 10 kilometres a day. And that is a long way. It's a long way in the car. He's doing it for sponsorship. And so if you've got any spare pennies or a little bit of pocket money or anything like that, if you can, you will need an adult to help you with this, because it all has to be done online. But if you can donate anything, please do so. It's taking an awful lot of commitment and effort and energy from Mr. Freeman. He's 7 in now and 3 to go. And if you look at these pictures, I don't know. At first, I just thought, he's in exactly the same top. Is he just putting 3 fingers up, then 4, then... But, I could do that. It's dead easy. But to be fair to Mr. Freeman, he is providing the phone tracker data as well to show that he is actually physically doing this. Well done, sir. It's an amazing achievement. I'm sure if anybody watching can sponsor you, they will. and just as a bit of a morale booster in the week when he got to about the halfway stage. And it really helped him, this, I think. Appenny gave him this lovely little boost.
Hi Mr. Freeman, it's me Appenny. I've made this poster to track your progress through the 10k race. Today I've heard that you've got halfway, so I'm going to leave it here for today. Bye!
Really, really good. And for no other reason, as a total change of scene, here's Paola just playing in the blossom. Now you'll remember the challenge last week was for a record-breaking 6 gold coins. Someone was going to go straight to the top of the leaderboard with this one. And you were challenged and tasked with drawing a picture or depicting in some way Her Majesty the Queen. And there were 9 entries in this altogether. Very, very difficult to pick a winner. I think first and foremost, we ought to look at the entries individually. Here they are. Abby did this amazing pencil sketch. Cushy went for a much larger version, very colourful as well, with a nice big smile. Ida decided to do it as if she was at the coronation and she was putting the crown on the Queen. That was very creative, very artistic as well, Ida. Well done. Poppy's version was very accurate with all the jewellery, and looks like the Queen was ready for a day at the races there. And again, capturing the typical portrait of the Queen. Often, you don't often see the Queen smiling. She has much more of a sombre face like what Daisy has captured there. That's really good. This is a stunning piece of work from Miss Elfleet Radford. Could be lifted directly from a stamp or a coin. Really good. Matilda went for this version. Now, a lot of this looks like it's made out of material, various buttons and things like that. That's had a lot of time on it. That's really effective when it's finished. Well done. And Thomas chose a totally different technique for presenting his work by scraping. It's a technique of scraping onto wood, I believe, to give that very dramatic effect. And then Bradley created a very traditional picture. Looks like a good combination of between the Queen and Camilla Parker Bowles, that Brad. It was very, very well done. They were stunning. Really good work. And I like the fact that we didn't all just go for a traditional pen and paper. You know, some of you did look at other means and methods as well. Really, really creative, and that's what we like to see. Now, very difficult for me to pick a winner because I know who sent them. So I cropped all the identification off, cut names and things like that off, put them on 3 separate slides, and I sent them over to my dearest mama and asked her to pick a winner. And she looked at them and then sent this particular message back.
Oh dear, what a difficult task this has been, trying to pick one winner from these beautiful designs. But the one that I featured showed Her Majesty at her best is number 6.
Boom! Straight in, Daisy Elfleet Radford to the top of the leaderboard. 6 gold coins. Well done to you, madam. That is remarkable. Great piece of work. You all should be very proud. But although you top Daisy, it's only by 1 coin, so it's not a strong lead. Someone could to overtake you. And maybe next week, particularly next week, there might be a really big opportunity. But we'll have to tune into episode 8 for that one. So to this week's challenge. Now this week's challenge is for 5 gold coins. It relates to a writing task. Don't want you to rush it, but there is going to be an added incentive as well. The last time we got involved with this particular organisation, it was for the big battery hunt. And if you remember, we won as a school quite a lot of prizes, and individually Liliana won herself a brand new iPad. To win the 5 gold coins, I need you to write a short story that takes 2 minutes to read. So why 2 minutes? Well, all of this is sponsored by our friends at Aquafresh, the toothpaste makers, and they're running a competition for you to write a short story that lasts 2 minutes, because the advice to young people is that you should clean your teeth for 2 minutes every day, twice a day. But what they're finding is that a lot of children don't necessarily do the cleaning for the right amount of time. partly because they don't know how long 2 minutes is. It's hard to, unless you're going to sit with a timer or something like that, it's hard to gauge, especially for young people, how long 2 minutes is. So the idea is that we have enough stories where children can play one of these stories, or a parent could read it to them while they're brushing their teeth, and when the story ends, the 2 minutes will be over and their teeth will have been cleaned sufficiently well. So can you write an original story? Generally speaking, a 2-minute story should be able to fit on one side of A4 paper. So I will need you to download this particular entry form and use that. You'll find that on the school website. If you go to the end tab, the creative tab, and the very bottom option there is resources, that will take you through, and you can just literally right click on the competition entry form, download it and print on it there. And on there as well, I only need that particular form, but there are a couple of others as well. There's an explanation of the rules if your parents want to look at that, and there's also like a design sheet, so that if you want to think about, because all stories, and this has got to be, you know, quite a good impact story that lasts for 2 minutes. It needs a really powerful beginning, some good detailed depth story in the middle, and a very powerful end, and you've got to do all that in a very short 2-minute story. And we've got such great writing talent, so it's high time that we use that. This is for 5 gold coins, remember, so it's well worth doing just to win that on its own. However, there is the chance that you could win yourself an additional prize, because for every competition entry that comes in for the weekly challenge this week that is on that form, I will send them off as a batch to the Aquafresh people who are organising the competition, and you could win for school a £500 Oxford Press voucher for us to buy books, but more importantly, like Liliana, you could win yourself a brand new iPad, as well as 5 gold coins, of course. So it's well worth having a go. It doesn't have to hit 2 minutes exactly, because I might read it at a slower speed than someone else, and someone else might read it much quicker. So generally, perhaps complete the work. It's probably going to be about a side of A4 paper. Get mum, dad or a trusted adult to read it out, time it, and so long as it's roughly there or thereabouts at average adult reading speed, about 2 minutes, then it's going to qualify. I'll get one of the professional readers in school, one of the teachers, to pick the winner for the 5 gold coins, but every single one I'll also send off to Aquafresh as well. Fingers crossed, you never know, you might just win. Still no information yet on any books. Wonder if they are being written. I'm well on with mine. Quite pleased with how it's going. And I have built another character from the Imposers, so I've worked quite well this week, quite proud of myself. Might give myself a few hours off tomorrow. And in any event, hopefully, if Year 6 are the group that get back to school, and we do, everything goes well and we can get back after half term, we can give some creative thought to putting some sort of special event on, probably most likely on video, for us to really capture all the wonderful memories and creative things that you've done at school, creating a lasting memory that way. Again, like I said, it's been a very quiet week, not much coming in at all, and the teachers have said the same. I don't know why it's suddenly just taken a bit of a dip. Don't know. Nice to see that Billy has been keeping busy though. Very proud, patriotic Billy Handley, and here he is creating his Union Jack. Not an easy thing to do that, because it can change a little bit like the direction of the monarch on stamps. It changes every time there is a new one. Well, certain things change on the Union Jack, but he's obviously got himself the official guidance there, as you can see, and he has produced something truly wonderful. Nice to see him keeping creatively busy. Now, I'm sure like these two, your families are having to come up with truly memorable ways of trying to celebrate your birthdays. And here was Cole and Jordana, who were 8 and 5 respectively throughout the week, and they have had a party. Nothing stopping the fun there. They both look very, very happy, and we wish you all the very best for your birthdays. Just so glad you were able to get out and about and have a great day. Now, our pal has hit double figures. As you can see here, on Sunday, it's Agnes's birthday. And Agnes will turn 10, and I have absolutely no doubt his family will have planned a great event, and he will never ever forget the birthday that he had during lockdown when he celebrated being 10. And then all the way to next Thursday, so just before next week's show, Ethan will turn 11. Ethan in class 9. It's the maximum age for any St. Bede's child. I'm sure that your family have got lots of things planned for you. Maybe all your friends can FaceTime and interact that way. Hope you have a great day, Ethan. And then this next one, we're not entirely sure. This is all whispers and hearsay, really. But we believe, and it is just a belief, we believe that during the week, Father John had his birthday. And it is just a belief. And as you can see there, we have put a very non-committal, wide-ranging bracket of between 55 and 75. So when he does sort of surveys and things like that, he'll be in that bracket. We're nearly sure of it. But we don't even know if it's his birthday. We certainly don't know his age. But a bit mysterious in that way. But we hope that the Holy Father had a wonderful day in his lockdown situation. And we're all thinking about him surviving down in church. He's getting quite creative, Father. He's producing a few videos on WhatsApp and things like that for the parishioners, which is really, really good. Cyber Father, can you believe that? Anyway, Father, very many happy returns. If I were to make a guess, I'd say not quite 70, but getting close. Don't know. Anyway, they're not the type of things that we should be discussing. Now, you know, sometimes you feel old age creeping up on you. And I was out walking Cooper the other day, and I just felt this old woman advance towards me. Like a little scuttle, like a side-walking crab or something, but just seemed to approach with great speed and determination. A lot like Mrs. Thatcher did, like this.
You've been a bit of a grandmother. Is that right?
We have become a grandmother.
And sure enough, that was the news. Mrs. Chadbourne came across. We have become a grandmother. Great news for Mrs. Chadbourne. We are so pleased that baby Erin has been born. Here you can see her. We are quite literally celebrating the birthday as she is 0. Mother and baby are doing absolutely fine, as is father, who is often overlooked in this situation. And I'm sure that Mrs. Chadbourne is doing some safe distance grandparental duties, and she will smother that child. I'm sure you will be a wonderful grandmother. Maybe it might calm you down a bit. Erin literally it means peace, that name, as well as being the Celtic name for Ireland. This may cause you to mellow, Mrs. Chadbourne. I can only hope and pray that that wondrous bundle of joy does that to you. Now, staff challenge time. I think we're just about over the disappointment of Mr. Swan and Mrs. Williams not doing the chocolate challenge. Great sense of disappointment throughout the entire school community. Appenny, I'm hoping that you're over that now. Do keep your suggestions coming in. There have been some really good ones. However, you might remember last time we tasked Miss Long and Miss Howitt, Mrs. Howitt, to do their challenges. And I think we're going to try something, if we can get her on the phone. Just bear with us one moment. We're going to try and do this one live. If you remember, Mrs. Howitt was tasked with singing the French national anthem in French. And I believe she is there on standby. If you can hear me, say bonjour.
Bonjour.
You're such a good sport, Mrs. Howard. I don't know how you're going to do this, but in your own time, when you're ready, off you go.
Dans la belle patrie, les jours d'éclairer arrivent. Quand tout allait la tyrannie, les attendent dans les livres. Entra dans un panier, me gueuse Florida, vos bras. Et give vos paniers. That chill up, Mr. Sharp, au revoir.
We seem to have lost the connection. I think she'd more or less finished. What a brilliant, brilliant sport, Mrs. Howitt. Top marks. Unbelievable. You are what St. Bede is all about. Brilliant. Brilliant. Well done. Love that. Beautiful voice. A little bit croaky when we go live. That's one down, one to go. Now, you might remember we tasked Miss Long with appearing in a piece of art. And that could be anything, absolutely anything. She didn't rush into it, she gave it some thought, and ultimately she had a go, which is oh so important. That's all you've got to do in this challenge. And she decided to pick Banksy's Girl with Balloon. And this was the original. And this is what she created. Stunning work, very effective. Well, very enjoyable one to do, but done. 2 ticks, absolutely superb. Brilliant. Again, top marks, did it. I think that was quite an easy one, that one. But it's good. Maybe it's inspired you to do your own version of some famous art. I think it was the Banksy's Girl with Balloon that got shredded.
From the other side.
Not quite sure what that's all about. Anyway, who's next? Because the staff challenge board is now looking very, very different. So the first one that came through was for, well, there were 2 for Mrs. Hill this week. The first one was for Mrs. Hill to drink beer in a space of time. She barely touches alcohol, Mrs. Hill. It's not something that interests her, it's not something that she does. She's happy enough with life without returning to the bottle. So I think we'll skip that one. However, I do like the idea of getting Mrs. Hill to sing The Wheels on the Bus. Maybe her 2 lovely daughters will help out. Maybe Gavin will join in, you never know. But there we go, Mrs. Hill, especially for the Children of Foundation, singing The Wheels on the Bus. I don't know how many verses there are, but we'll leave it up to you. It could be a 1-hour rendition, it could just be the first verse and the chorus. I know you'll throw yourself into that, you'll put your heart and soul into it. And then the next one was for Mrs. Taylor. It's an all foundation challenge this time. Where was it? There we go. Mrs. Taylor. Can Mrs. Taylor recreate her favourite member of staff out of items found in the woodland? So in other words, it's a little bit like, I mean, you know Mrs. Taylor, she loves to be out in the woodland. It's like most people make a snowman when it snows. Well, she's got all her natural resources. Can she make a model or little effigy or something of her favourite member of staff, but out of natural resources? I'm nearly certain that they will be done today with the great speed and professionalism of Miss Long and Mrs. Howitt. We will look forward with bated breath, ladies, to seeing those challenges done, and we'll air them next week. Now you keep sending your suggestions in and your email ideas, and we'll get them on the screen. Again, all the usual reminders about where to find help. You know now, we mentioned a little bit of a signpost last week for parents. If you have concerns about maybe the length of time or what your children are asking to go on. But this week we're just going to share as well with the potential that we'll be going back to school. Maybe 1 or 2 people have concerns about that, questions, or maybe you want to just speak to someone. So there is an online counselling service, particularly for staff. So if anybody wants to ring that line confidentially, you can do, and you can speak to a trained counsellor at the other end who will hopefully have some advice and guidance about any potential worries, concerns or doubts you might have regarding any possible return to school. If you're going to the resources section of our school website, you will also see I've put on there from Forestry England. They've done their own version of the Top Trumps game, and it all relates down to trees, and there's about 4 or 5 pages of those. You can print them off and make your own version of the game and learn a little bit more about the trees you would see in a forest at the same time. There's also the 30 creative activities for children from Apple, things that you can do with your iPad, just to make sure that you're using that to its full creative potential. So it's quiz time. Fingers crossed we get a winner this week. It built up to 3 coins. Never been that high from the quiz. I think we'll look at the quiz. Maybe we'll make it worth 2 coins every week. Just to generate a little bit more interest. Quite a few of you had a go this week. Let's have a look at who did. But before we do, we'll check the answers. And the answers from last week were: the flag was the Netherlands, but we would have also accepted Holland. The Prime Minister was Margaret Thatcher. Character was Rabbit Raider. Well, the maximum score with 1 dart isn't 60, so it's just 60 times 9, which is 540. Opal fruits are what Starbase used to be called. The singer was correctly identified as Adele. Mrs. Brown was the former member of staff. You'll find Mount Rushmore in South Dakota. A brilliant ride at Alton Towers is called Oblivion. And I hope you didn't waste time on this like I did and try to work out a pattern or discover it. It's one of those where simply, if you look at the question the other way up, you can quite clearly see the answer is 87. Now, quite a few of you had to go last week, but in the spirit of fairness, there's the list in the order in which they came, and you'll see that Alana was first, but she compromised accuracy for Bede. This came to at 10:37, and it's not Bunny Brawler. I think that's the female version of the character. And 180 you can get in just 3 darts, so they were wrong. So we had to go back to the order, and then next to come through was Olivia Neal, and Olivia Neal won. She got them all right. Netherlands, Margaret Thatcher, Rabbit Raider 540, Opal Fruits Adele, Mrs. Brown, South Dakota Oblivion, and 87. So well done to you, Olivia. Brilliant, great time, great accuracy. You get the 3 gold coins. And that puts you in joint 4th place on the leaderboard with Ida. So well done to you. We'll make this worth 2. And if it's not 1 this week, it'll double to 4 and 6 and so on. I guess it takes a lot of pressure to get the answers down quickly and accurately. So if you are playing along, we need to make sure it's worth your while. So this 2 coins. Quite a few other people did have a go. Alfie was next but slipped up on a couple. Esme was absolutely right with the full house correct, but she was a little bit later on the time at 11:21. Nathan a little bit later, he was absolutely right on all the answers. Well done to you. Callum was next but he slipped up on a couple. Ida was absolutely right, but again she was just a little bit later. The darts question caught Apane, and the last to have a go by Saturday evening was Lil, and she just slipped up on a couple. But well done for having a go. Again, we'll keep this open for a couple of days. We'll close it at 5 o'clock tomorrow. But for now, if you're ready, you've got your pen, you're ready, concentrating, here we go. These are this week's questions. Question 1, what is the capital of Brazil? Question 2, what is this film called? Question 3, from the latest Star Wars film, what's this amazing little character called? Question 4, in the name Nintendo DS, what does the DS stand for? Who wrote the book Dracula for question 5? Question 6, in which city would you find the Patronus Twin Towers? Question 7, who is this former member of staff? Question 8, who is this character? Question 9, who is this would-be king of the world from his younger days? And question 10, what comes once in a minute, twice in a moment, but never in 1,000 years? Remember, speed and accuracy are important. Get writing those answers down. Take your time, get them checked, double check them. Any you're not sure about, maybe look on the internet as well. First one through, if they're all correct, we'll get 2 gold coins. If no one wins, it will roll over to next time. So that's about it for another week. Do please keep sending everything in. For some reason, we've had a very quiet week. All around school was reporting that it was quiet. I certainly haven't received the usual amount. It really helps if we can get in well before the deadline, and rather than one email every hour from some parents, if we could just get one email a week with a good summary on, it would be brilliant. Get your competition entries through. We will desperately love to see those stories for Aquafresh. Remember, it's got to last around about 2 minutes, and everyone that comes through on the official entry form, not only will it go into our competition, I'll also send that off to Aquafresh, and maybe, just maybe, you'll win school £500 worth of book vouchers and get yourself a brand new iPad as well. Have a great week. Keep being creative. Keep sharing your stories. Anybody you've not seen on here, give them a nudge. Let's get some fresh faces on here as well. Look after each other. Stay safe. And I'll see you next week. Bye.